It is People, Power, and Politics. Welcome back to Detroit's only nightly political talk show. This is The Pulse, here to talk about the reaction from yesterday's elections. Karen Dumas with the Detroit News and Troy Mayor Ethan Baker. Good to see you both. Thanks for joining us here. I appreciate both of you coming on today. Karen, as a columnist, you write a lot about the city of Detroit, the future of Detroit. You're a lifelong Detroiter who cares deeply about the city. Your reaction to Mary Sheffield's win last night. Does anything change in the city of Detroit because of this?
Well, I'm hoping so. Certainly the election of the first female mayor is significant, but that's only going to hold for so long. I think that I'd like to give her credit for the energy and the engagement that she showed throughout the campaign. I saw people that were energized, that in my opinion for some time have been complacent. So I'm hoping that energy translates into support for what she sets forward, because it's going to take everybody to work to make the city better for everybody. She can't do it alone. So I really like for everybody to just kind of give her the opportunity and see what happens. What
are the biggest challenges do you see Mayor Baker, as the mayor of the city of Detroit, when you watch someone walk into a leadership role like this? What are the main challenges that she faces in this economy and this political climate?
Yeah, I think, so obviously the big difference between campaigning for an office and then governing once you're there, that's a huge transition for anyone to take on. But, we've learned, all the polling from throughout the country says people are worried about the economy still. That's what's on people's minds, number one, and how their pocketbook is going to be affected. So she's got to come out strong right away as a new mayor, focused on that, or at least acknowledging it and validating those people's feelings and letting them know that she's there for them and she's going to do what she can as the mayor of the city to do that. I love the fact that, she's the first female mayor in Detroit, and I hope she can harness that excitement and that energy and use it for good to help propel the city to the next level, which is something I think Detroit really needs.
Well, you also look at the fact that this is not just the first female mayor. You have the first city clerk that's a female. You also have a majority council that's now majority women.
Right.
And I think that we shouldn't sit here and monolithically talk about, well, now women will do this or men should do this.
No.
People are people. And
That's
Karen, you have some concerns about Detroit and have had some for many years, because there seems to be this kind of feeling like one part of the city is going well, so the whole thing is going well.
Right.
What are your concerns about where we've been and where we're heading?
Well, I'd like to not see any one group benefit at the expense of the other, and whether that's the residents at the expense of the business community or the business community benefit at the expense of the residents. And so I think that's going to be really her biggest challenge, because she has great connectivity with the community and the neighborhoods, but the business community, Cranes had an article this morning taking credit for fueling her win. They invested in her campaign. So now you've got two sometimes conflicting, not necessarily complementary groups. How are you going to balance the interest and the needs of both of those groups? I think that's going to be the biggest thing. The other thing is that I'd like to see her communicate quite candidly to residents that she can't do this alone, meaning she's talked about education. All right, although the mayor's not formally involved in DPS at all, she can actually be an influencer in that capacity. But what can parents do? What can the community do? What do the students need to do differently? The same thing with community investment or neighborhood investment. What does each neighborhood need? What Sherwood Forest needs isn't the same as what another neighborhood needs.
It's a big city of neighborhoods,
isn't it? It's a big city, and they're all different. But there's been an analysis of each of the neighborhoods and their individual needs for several administrations now. So now it's time to start taking some steps forward.
Let's talk about endorsements and how important these are. When you have someone like Mayor Mike Duggan, who for the last 12 years, even critics have said, yes, Detroit in many ways is better today than it was before. However, the challenges still exist. What does this endorsement mean for Mary Sheffield, even moving forward?
I think it gave her a lot of legitimacy with that development class and the business leaders who are putting a lot of money into the city. I think that gave them the feeling that, okay, you know what, Mary Sheffield's going to be a mayor that will understand our interests a little bit, at least, because Mike Duggan's saying so. But I think she needs to go beyond Mike Duggan's endorsement. He's done, again, black and white, looking at the numbers, he's done really good things for Detroit, but he hasn't made Detroit a perfect city. There's a lot of work that can still be done, and I'm really hoping that she takes that energy from his endorsement, use it for the good, but find her own path, find her own way. She's got a great opportunity to make Detroit, again, an even better city, and I hope that she can do it, because it's good for all of us.
Yeah, and she's going to have to put, I want to see her put her thumbprint on here, meaning you're going to have to get your own people. I don't want to see this as an extended version of the past administration. administration. I want to see this. If she's the mayor, I want to see a Mary Sheffield administration. I want it to reflect who she is and her commitment both to the neighborhoods and to the redevelopment.
But you have to continue to keep working the programs that have worked well, whose thumbprint perhaps came from her predecessor, but at the same time put your own people in, you're saying.
Well, yeah, exactly. But, you know, each administration, and whether, you know, we have a conversation where people are happy or not about Kwame Kilpatrick, he set a lot of this in motion. Dennis Archer did his part. Dave Bing certainly did his part and from an infrastructure. And Mike Duggan walked into a very convenient environment and landscape that he was able to benefit from. A lot of those things don't exist anymore, so it's going to be a little more challenging.
Let's talk about what happens moving forward in this country. The midterms obviously are concerning to Republicans after what we've seen just last night. Should Republicans, as a Republican who is a nonpartisan mayor, but as a Republican, are there concerns in the Republican Party? Is President Donald Trump and the senators that he had breakfast with this morning direly concerned about the future?
Yeah, I do think so. I think that we've learned that when Trump is on the ballot, Republicans tend to do pretty well. When Trump's in power, the Democrats really succeed. And that seems to be what's consistently happening. It says that, you know, people love running against something more than for something. I think that's part of it, right? And he's an easy target to run against when you're a Democrat, but also, you know, when he is in power, he's out there every day. People hear everything he has to say, and it's a really easy thing to pick up what they want to go against. So I think that's part of it. But the other aspect is I also think it means, you know, Trump is Trump. The president's the president. Nobody else can be him. And the people that try, and the Republicans that try to be Trump or like Trump, seem to fail every time, in my opinion. Or they get to a certain ceiling, and that's it.
President Biden and President Trump have one big thing in common as a political observer. They both say the economy is fine when people aren't feeling that. President Biden did that, and President Trump is doing that now. Both of these men have that in common. And if you're a Republican or a Democrat, you know that in your heart of hearts. Things are not as he promised. And Joe Biden did the same thing when he was president. No, the economy's fine.
All politicians do that, Roop. I mean, that's politics.
Isn't that dangerous, though?
That's very
Telling
dangerous.
people that what you're feeling isn't true?
Exactly. It's very dismissive. And like you said when you opened the show, people are concerned about what's going on economically in their own households. And I think that's been a distraction, a diversion from a bigger political picture because they're trying to figure out how to get from point A to point B.
So does Mayor Zohran Mamdani, or the mayor-elect in New York, is he the antidote to that in many people's minds?
I think people are hoping so. You know, and I think overall people are tired of the whole, you know, Republican, Democrat, that whole thing. Like, okay, we're all trying to just be better for ourselves and our family. What is it that we need to do? We all, you know, we all eat. We all have to do the same things.
Right.
Why is it so divisive?
But it's so easy to campaign as an economic populist. It's so easy to say, I'm going to fix all your money problems. I'm going to give you free groceries. I'm going to give you free housing. I'm going to make your inflation drop down. It's really hard to actually affect that change once you're in office, and that happens every time. So people, we voters, give our leaders a pass on that stuff. We shouldn't, but we do. We say, okay.
Because
so
we want to be hopeful. We're like, okay,
right.
Maybe this time something will happen, but then.
But again, President Biden said the same thing. Then VP Harris started running and saying the economy is going to be fine, and then President Trump said, I'll fix it in the first few days, and we haven't seen much.
The president, though, I mean, I think it was the vice president today saying, you know, we need to focus more on the at-home issues a little bit, which is a weird kind of admission by what's going on in the White House that maybe they didn't do something quite right yesterday or leading up to yesterday.
And when I say the economy, by the way, for those who are taking notes and ready to send out a tweet, I mean not the stock market, because most everyday people aren't heavily invested in the stock market. They're trying to put groceries on the table, and that's the concern that so many people have. I want to thank you both for joining us. Karen Dumas, always great to see you. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Baker, for joining us as well. That is the Pulse for tonight. Thanks for joining us. I'm Roop Raj. As always, it was great to be with you.